I can't believe how quickly you've picked this up. Malik beamed at me, the pride evident in his eyes as he closed the book I'd been reading from. I suppose. Wait, I suppose I should. Oh, it's him talking. Let's do that voice again. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. It's a lot easier to learn in this realm than on Earth. But soon you'll be able to pick up material from any language and read it. I offered a smile, though I felt uneasy inside. That's what Hasitan wanted, someone who could read. I wore a thick jacket, even inside the library. The marks from the burns had faded, but weren't gone. Not yet. Every time I moved, I received a visceral reminder of my father's command and what I'd promised to do. I hated this. Somewhere, my feelings had changed. I did not want to fool the angels at Arcadia. I didn't want to betray my dorm mates. I did not want to lie to Malik. You're a good teacher, I said. Come on. Malik put the book back on the shelf and returned to me. Let's go for a walk. Something bright and strong filled my heart when I stood next to him, pure and light, like the music when the angels sang. I compared it to the spark of energy Carubial had manipulated me with, and my face warmed with shame. How could I have taken pleasure in something so false? My thoughts must have shown on my face because Malik nudged me with his book. What's on your mind? I can't reveal, I said automatically, and he laughed. I've told you just about everything about myself, he said, and yet you're still playing mysterious. Because you are good, I said in all seriousness. My thoughts often revolve around who I was and what I did. He fell silent as we walked through the quad, stepping past other angels on their way to class or out for a stroll. He sat down on the edge of the fountain, and I joined him. The water remained off for the winter, and I touched the frozen surface. There was no visible sign of the portal. Hold on a second. I'm going to take that back. There was no visible sign of the portal I'd taken to Sheol just days before. I don't think I knew you before, he said. Sorry, I had to decline live invites because this is me actually recording my audiobook. So if I had anybody up here with me, it would go into my finished audio. So I'm sorry, guys. I've searched my memory for any time I might have interacted with you in the first existence, and it comes up blank. Of course, I don't remember everything yet. Maybe it will come to me. You don't know me. Are you sure? Do you remember? Nobody knew me, I said. Somebody had to know you. I shook my head. Malik knew I was a Forsaken, one of the souls damned to live out its existence in Sheol, but he didn't understand everything about me. I wasn't there in the first existence. Everyone was there. I wasn't. I lifted my head, my heart pounding nervously in my throat. Was I sure about telling him? He cocked his head, his aura flashing a deep purple. Could he see mine? What did it say about me? You can trust me, he said, patting my finger with his book. I smiled slightly. That was how he'd taken to touching me. He carried his book under one arm when we were together and used it to nudge me or poke me. Somehow, it warmed my heart as if it were his own hand. Well, if it isn't our little vixen Jez. The shiver of warning crept down my spine even as I turned my head to see Carubriel approaching. Something in Malik's expression hardened. What are you doing here, Shade? Carubriel lifted his chin, smugness radiating off of him. He shoved his hands into his pockets. You say that like it's an insult. Shades have a very powerful influence on other beings. Wouldn't you say so, Jess? Okay, and that is the end of that chapter. So let me save it really quickly to my files as I'm recording this audiobook. Guardian Angel Academy, Book 1. Okay, stand by so I can hit save. I always save my files immediately after recording so I don't accidentally lose them, because that is the worst, to lose your files. Been there, done that. Never again. Rule of redundancy, external hard drive, Google Dropbox, and Google Drive. And obviously it saves inside the software itself, but I don't depend on that. Okay, next chapter. 24, Guardian Angel Academy, if I could spell. Okay. Chapter 24. I glared at him, face warming with embarrassment as I remembered our last encounter. Carubial's eyes looked at my hand, pressed nearly against Malik's, and then he smirked at Malik. But maybe you already know about the influence of shades. No one's influencing me, I said, incensed by the insinuation. Let it go, Jez, Malik said. He doesn't know anything. Oh, sorry, it's Carubial. A lot, Carubial said. I know a lot. Don't be fooled by her innocent face. You don't know what she did with me on the skyball pitch. I could not look at Malik as the heat rushed to my eyes. I clenched my fists, panic racing through my veins. Behind us, the ice cracked in the foundation, and Malik glanced at it. So did Carubial. Then he looked at me. Wait. Oh, it's Carubial speaking. I'm still figuring you out. I don't have all the answers, but I'm close. Somehow, I suspect your name is a clue to it all. Jezbatha said. What? Malik said, his voice changing. No, his tone. His tone of voice changing. What did you say? I closed my eyes, fears flooding me. No, not fears, fear. I closed my eyes, fear flooding me. Carubial had just done it for me, revealed what I was, who I was. Carubial didn't miss the reaction. That means something to you. What is it? But Malik was looking at me. Is that your name? You told him your name? It just kind of slipped out, I said, helpless before him. Wait, who's talking here? You could say she was caught up. Okay, sorry. I know what's going on here. You could say she was caught up in the moment, Carubial said, that smirk back on his face. Oh, how I wished I could smack him. He manipulated me. Malik stood up, and I watched him anxiously. Where are you going? To see if what he's saying is true, Malik replied, not even glancing at me. I stood as well. You could just ask me. Something darkened in his gaze. Somehow, I doubt you would tell me the truth. His response stung, and I stumbled backward. Just like that. And now he didn't trust me? Carubial regarded me as Malik walked away. What does he know that I don't? I spun on him. This is your fault. He lifted an eyebrow. No, it's not. You're keeping things from all of us, and that makes it your fault. I glared at him, hating that he was right. I left Carubial at the fountain and ran back to the library, where I assumed Malik was, searching in the books for information about me. But I didn't find him, even as I ran among the shelves. So I sat down on the floor and removed my agenda. Where are you? Can we talk? I sent the message to him and held my breath, waiting for his response. Oh, hold on. Oh, it's okay. I thought I heard a mouth noise in my audio, so I wanted to make sure it was okay. Now you want to talk? I've been trying for weeks to get you to open up, but apparently it wasn't what... Nope, apparently it wasn't. Take two. But apparently it wasn't that you didn't want to talk, just that you didn't want to talk to me. Maybe you should stick with those you're comfortable with. It took me nearly 10 minutes to decipher the message, and each word felt like a slap to the face. He hadn't said it, but I could feel the words as if he did. Stick with your kind. He didn't tell me where he was, and I didn't ask again. I comforted myself with what he'd told me before, that he was prone to anger and sometimes needed a moment to cool down. Oh, hold on. I kind of whistled on that word. I'm going to redo that. Rewind. I comforted myself with what he'd told me before, that he was prone to anger and sometimes needed a moment to cool down. I'd give him time. Malik skipped meals, not joining Table D, and as one day turned into two, and two turned into three, I wondered how long it would take. Or maybe now that he discovered the truth about me, we were through talking. A coldness. Nope, that is not what it says. Oh, it is. Ah! A coldness sank into my soul at the thought, and a sorrow I hadn't thought myself capable of accompanied me to each and every activity. Oh, my Lanta, that is not what it says. Hey, Amanda! And a sorrow I hadn't thought myself capable of accompanied me to each. I keep wanting to say each and every class, but it's not. So I gotta take that back. How you doing, girl? A coldness sank into my soul at the thought. Wait, did I just repeat that line? I did. A coldness sank into my soul at the thought, and a sorrow I hadn't thought myself capable of accompanied me to each class and every activity. Okay, now we got Master Barocule. Today, we are going to work with the elements to see which one you are most inclined to, Elder Master Barocule said, but he didn't. Elder Master Barocule walked among us where we stood on the grassy lawn, each of us with our feet apart and palms facing the ground. Did you go to the library and study the meaning behind the different elements? He'd given us the assignment a week ago, but I did not. I had not returned to the library since I'd gone seeking Malik. I was afraid he'd be there, and I didn't want to intrude on his space. But it looked like I was in a minority. Most of my classmates nodded. Now I was at a disadvantage because they had studied the elements and I had not. Fantastic, Barakiel said. Make sure you have plenty of space around you. Let's start with drawing up your energy. Go ahead, pull it up from inside you. Let it flow to your fingertips. I had practice with this now, both in this class and creations class. I closed my eyes and visualized my soul energy burning up into my fingers. Now, we will cycle through the most common elements. There may be more than one that speaks to you, but there will be one you control the best. Let's start with the earth. This is the power to move mountains, to shake the ground, to cause cities to be swallowed up, to create valleys and hills where there were none before. Where before there were none. Wait a second. Yeah, that's what it says. To create valleys and hills where before there were none. The ground trembled beneath my feet, and I opened my eyes to see the earth shooting upward, creating a mound in front of my face. I gasped and took a step backward. Who is speaking? Arella. Okay, girl, what do you sound like, Arella? Sorry, I'm going to pull up her audio file real quick. Oh, okay, gotcha. Got her voice. Sorry, Arella said beside me, her face turning pink. I didn't know that would happen. You did that? I think so. She looked at her open palms. I felt the energy leave me. I hadn't felt anything. My fingers still sparked with unspent force. Valleys and hills sprang up around me, and Leek was in the midst of creating a mountain. Very good, very good. Those of you who were able to work with the ground, remembered that power. Earthbender! I'm an earthbender! Someone shouted, and several angels laughed, apparently catching a reference I did not. Remember, it might not be your only power. Now, put everything back the way it was. This appeared to be much harder. I watched Arella scrunch up her face in concentration, moving her hands back and forth over the mound. She succeeded in getting it to fall back into the earth, but it looked as if a child had dug it up with a shovel and put it back. Looks pretty good, I said, and she gave me a grateful smile. Barachiel chuckled, and I looked up to see crinkles around his eyes as he walked in front of us. A quick glance showed she wasn't the only one who had struggled to get the earth back down. Leek was shoving the mountain back into the crater he'd pulled it from. From your research, what does it mean if an angel is prone to earth moving? Rewind. From your research, what does it mean if an angel is prone to earth moving? Barachiel asked. It means they are more logically rooted, Iblis said, speaking up from somewhere to my left. They tend to see things in black and white. There's no middle ground. That's right. Consider how it applies to you if you found the talent. Oh, mother of trucks. Okay, hold on. Consider how that applies to you if you found talent in the earth. The next element we are going to try is wind. Remember, oh yeah, it is him. Remember to give this a shot, even if you were able to manipulate the earth. You might be able to do both. He held his hands out in front of him so the palms faced each other. Just like you channeled your energy before, do it again. Only this time, push it between your hands. I held out my hands the way he did and summoned my energy, hoping this time something would happen. The flickering sparks collected in both of my fingertips, and then they pushed against each other with a magnetic force that shoved me backward. I gasped and crouched to the ground before I rocketed into another angel. Wind whipped around me and tumbled through my hair like a miniature tornado. I glanced around and saw other students using their hands to manipulate the shape of the wind. Good job, Barachiel said, approaching me. You found a power over an element. I'm surprised, I admitted, my voice a little shaky. Why should you be? Your soul is composed of energy, like any other living creature. You've just never learned how to harness it correctly. Correctly being the operative word, because I had certainly learned how to use. No, let's do that again. That's too upbeat for her. Just got home? Oh, cool. Did you get my Marco? I couldn't hear you at all. Correctly being the operative word, because I had certainly learned how to use the energy of my soul for other purposes. I got to my feet and took a look around me. The angels who were not manipulating the air looked frustrated or disappointed, including Arella, whose lower lip poked out in a pout. You are all doing amazing, Barachiel said. Who knows what traits are found in the wind manipulators? Iblis spoke again. Loyalty, unwavering, someone who is not easily tossed about on the waves. Indeed, Barachiel said. I leaned forward and peered at Iblis, curious. What element had she managed to summon? If you do not react to any of the elements today, please do not be alarmed, Barachiel said. There are other, lesser-known elements that we won't go through right now, but I invite you to come and speak with me after class so we can find yours. You also might just need a little more time, and there's no harm in that either. Anticipation rushed through my veins as I stood with my palms open at my side, anxious to see if I would be able to summon any other. The last one we will try is fire. This one might seem unusual because we don't always see fire in the world around us, but it is a natural element created from retrieving and combining multiple Rewind. Take two. But it is a natural element created from retrieving and combining multiple elements found in the air, such as during a thunderstorm, and in the ground, such as lava melting up from the Earth's core. So, to manipulate fire, you do have to be capable of either air manipulation or ground manipulation. Unlike the other elements, fire changes the composition of objects in a way that can't be replaced. So take caution when attempting this manipulation. Who's talking here? I guess it's still him. Hold on. Find a focus. Something in nature that you can attempt to catch on fire. The grass at your feet, a nearby tree. I focused on a tree just in my line of sight. Got that? Good. That's the easy part. The hard part will come naturally to you or not at all. Close your eyes and use your energy to connect with the elements that would create a spark. I did as he said, sucking in a breath and visualizing the electrons of the sky vibrating against each other, generating enough of a charge to create electricity. Nope, to create lightning. Let's take that back. Generating enough of a charge to create lightning. I could see them. With my eyes closed, I could see the molecules dancing in the air around me. My fingers twitched, calling them together. With a single force, I could get them to ignite. A yell rent in the air, followed by a shriek and a scream. I opened my eyes, my concentration broken, to see a whirling fireball spinning in Israfil's face. It gathered energy like a vortex, sucking leaves off the branches of nearby trees and adding grass to his escalating appetite. For a moment, I froze, a tremor of fear rippling through me as I saw the fireball, as if it were a reflection of a portal to hell. I reacted with one clear thought: put the fire out. I changed the way I'd been manipulating the molecules and spread my arms, hoping I'd rearrange the oxygen molecules enough to suffocate the fire. And then I lashed out, throwing my vacuum at the fireball. But instead of... Let's rewind. Oh, I did say fireball correctly. Okay. Wait, hold on. Let me hear that again. I'm going to take that again. Oh, that's why. Okay. I got to take it back, y'all. Suffocate the fire, fire, fire. Where is that? And then I lashed out, throwing my vacuum at the fireball. But instead of sucking the fuel from the fire, a spray of water erupted in front of me, shooting out of the ground and enveloping the fireball. The hosing continued, and my soul's energy grew brighter and stronger as it pulled additional molecules from the air and decimated the fireball. When only smoky plumes remained, I dropped my hands and took a step back, my heart pounding with weariness, coupled with relief. I looked around at my classmates, but none of them were looking at me. Their eyes were on the circle of burnt grass left behind by the fireball and the remains of the water as it seeped back into the earth. So Israfil is talking now. Let's find your voice. Israfil, Israfil, where are you? Oh, okay, that's right. Okay, I remember him. I'm sorry, Israfil said. I thought I had it under control, but it got away from me. He spun toward me. You used water. Class dismissed, Barakiel said, so loudly and abruptly that it didn't feel natural. The students swung toward him, and then their gazes flickered to me, and I got the uneasy feeling I'd done something wrong. Iblis picked up her bag and handed mine to me also. Hold on, let's take that back. Iblis picked up her bag and handed mine to me also. Let's go. Something felt off, and I couldn't quite tell me what it was. I wonder if that's a typo. Something felt off, and I couldn't quite tell me. I think it's a typo. I think that me should be omitted. Something felt off, and I couldn't quite tell what it was. But why? I accepted my bag from her, but took my time moseying from the field. I glanced back to see several students crowding around Barakiel. Keep walking, Iblis said, moving at a quicker pace. I fell silent and followed her lead, though the nagging feeling in my gut told me this was about me. Iblis didn't say a word as we moved through the Iblis didn't say a word as we moved through the quad. Oh my gosh, y'all, moved through the quad. Take two. Or is that three? Moved through the quad. It's like a tongue twister for me. Okay. Iblis didn't say a word as we moved through the quad, past the fountain. I stared at its icy waters as we passed, as if it could somehow tell me what was going on. Even though she didn't speak, there was a certain urgency to the way Iblis moved. She bypassed the cafeteria and went straight to our dorm. I followed her in, and only after she closed the door did she spin around, arms crossing over her chest as she looked at me. "You're going to need to come up with some kind of story. If there's something you want to tell me, now would be a good time to do so." My heart gave a little pitter-patter of alarm. "What do you mean?" I said, suddenly finding it hard to swallow. "You controlled water," she said slowly, as if that should make it all clear. She stepped toward me, almost as if she would put her hands on my shoulders, and I flinched away. She stepped in front of me and sighed. "Jez, I am your friend, and you can trust me. I'm going to stand by you, but it would be nice if I could trust you also. Now tell me, how did you do that?" I shook my head, still, I forgot the word still not sure what I had done. "I don't know what you mean." She pressed her lips together in a tight line. "I did the studying. I read up on all the elements." I still just looked at her, having no idea what she was trying to say. "Do you really not know?" "I really don't know," I said, my tone dry. "Angels have power over many things, the elements, emotions, light and dark, but over—" I wanted to say this word in reverse. Hold on. "Hey, Crystal!" "But over one thing they don't have power: water." A chill tickled down my spine. Is that right? Or is it supposed, I guess it is. Tamara, I wish you were here so I could ask you, is it really supposed to be a chill tickle down my spine? We're just going to say it because that's what the text says. But I want to say trickled. I don't know why. What do you guys think? A chill tickled down my spine at her words. "Who has power over water?" I whispered. Oh, wait, I'm going to make it more of a whisper. "Who has power over water?" I whispered, afraid to know. "The demons. It is said to be a power of hell. Water is the devil's domain." I closed my eyes. And here I had just used water in front of my entire class. It had come so naturally to me, I hadn't even stopped to think about it. I hadn't thought about it, and that was the problem. I should have questioned why it came so naturally to me. Now we'll have to think of something to tell everyone. I opened my eyes, staring at Iblis's face in disbelief. "Otherwise, the rumor will go around that you're a demon, that you've escaped from hell and are here to infiltrate us." One eyebrow lifted. "You've put a lot of thought into this rumor. It's not that big of a stretch. Why do you want to help me cover this up?" I couldn't understand why she wasn't renouncing me and demanding a new roommate. She tilted her head and looked at me like I was daft. "Because you're my friend, and I really don't care." Nope, I don't really care. "And I don't really care how you manipulate it." Take 3. "And I don't really care how you manipulated water. It doesn't change anything. But we do have to come up with a good story." I wanted to laugh. "Then you believe I can manipulate water because I am—" I couldn't bring myself to say it. She just stared at me, as if waiting for me to finish the sentence. Nope, that's not what it says. I like to make up my own lines sometimes. As if waiting for me as if waiting for me to sentence myself. Sorry, guys. I kept wanting to make this a different sentence. She just stared at me, as if waiting for me to sentence myself. I tapped my fingers against each other and cleared my throat. Have there ever been any other accounts of angels being able to manipulate water? I don't know, but I bet we could find out. Wait! She snapped her fingers, a look of wonder coming over her face. Yes, the firstborn could manipulate water. The favored one. Of course he could. He could manipulate everything. while Hasatan was given the unwanted element, more of a curse than a compensation prize. But the bitterness these thoughts usually dragged up remained at bay. Iblis, there is something you should know. Holding her gaze with mine, not taking my eyes from hers, I slid out of my sweater. I slid out of my sweater. Her eyes shot to my shoulders. Her eyes shot to my shoulders. Shot to my shoulders. Her eyes shot to, oh my gosh. Her eyes shot to my shoulders. Okay. Hold on. Her eyes shot to my shoulders, probably seeking out my tiny wings. But I didn't stop there. I unbuttoned my shirt and pulled my arms free of it, revealing the chains that wound around and around my arms. Take a good look. I lifted my chin and stepped forward, leaving myself open for her scrutiny. Iblis looked uncertain for a moment, and then she stepped around me, behind me, and back to the front. You don't have any wings. No, I don't. Her eyes scanned the chains of my arms. What does this mean? Are you a fallen? What do you know about the fallen? She scooted past me and sat down in her chair, swiveling to face me. They came to earth. Upon their deaths, they were judged unworthy to enter heaven and were stripped of their wings. Then they were sent to hell for eternal damnation. Some of them chose to go to hell instead of heaven. They want to be there. Yes, because living in heaven as an unholy being would be more torturous than living in hell. Where did you learn all this? I asked, curious in spite of myself. She gestured at the bookcase between our beds. Did I say beds? Kind of. Not really clear. She gestured at the bookcase between our beds. Books. They're everywhere. And I can read faster than I ever could before. The knowledge just pours into me. I nodded, having experienced the same thing while learning to read. A spark of anticipation simmered in my belly. Soon, I'd be able to read as quickly and easily as Iblis, I hoped. So, she said, are you? I'd forgotten she'd asked me a question. I regarded her, wondering how much to reveal. The truth would not reassure her, and yet I found myself reluctant to continue lying to her. Okay, and that is the end of that chapter. So let me save this real fast and take a little drink. You text me? Yeah, it was like, honestly, it was like a really funny, like, TikTok video, Amanda. It was like, I could see your lips moving, and then, like, all I heard was the music playing, and I was, like, trying to figure it out. Like one of those, like, bad lip syncings or something. It was really funny. Oh, thank you. Okay, let me start a new chapter here for this. Chapter 25, Guardian Angel Academy, Chapter 25. Okay. Stand by. Okay. Chapter 25. No, I said, deciding to tell her what I could. I'm not a fallen. Then what are you? I shook my head. Something else, and I can't tell you what. Are you a Temptare? She breathed. I'd heard this word before, but what? But what? Sorry. Let's do that again. I had heard this word before, but it had never been defined for me. What is a Temptare? She cleared her throat. The renegades, the one who chose not to go to Earth and get a body, still go to Earth, but they have no body, and their purpose is to tempt mankind so they lose their course and end up a fallen instead of returning to the Father. Her definition brought a painful lump to my throat. I had been a Temptare. I'm not far from it. She gestured at my arms. Hence the chains? Yes, they show my lineage. Lineage? She furrowed her brow. I can't say anything more, I said. She smiled, a surprising gesture that dispelled the tension in the room. Sorry, hold on. My computer text got moved to the side. I gotta move it back over so I can see my manuscript. Here we go. Okay. But we can safely tell the rest of the first years that you aren't a demon from hell come to infiltrate Arcadia. A hard knot formed in my chest. I was a demon, and I was from hell, and I had come to infiltrate Arcadia. Lie. That was all I had. That is correct. So you lied to me when you said you have baby wings. You're ashamed that you wait. She lied to me. You have baby wings. So you lied to me when you said you have baby wings you're ashamed of? I never said that, I said. You did. I agreed with you. I never lied. Oh, she nodded. You just let me believe an untruth. Yes, I said. That was what demons did. And even after thousands of years, humans fell for it. It was like they wanted to be beguiled. She picked up a book on her desk and flipped through it. We still need to think of a story. We can say maybe on Earth you were a mermaid and you brought those powers with you now. Mermaids aren't real. Yeah, but who's going to argue? Everyone will assume maybe they are and they just haven't learned about it yet. Perhaps. Why don't we just tell them I'm not a demon? Maybe it's a new trend, manipulating water. Yeah, maybe, she said slowly. That might work, since Baracchio was there and he didn't boot you off Arcadia. But we at least need to face it head on. Laugh it off so everyone knows we are still. What? Sorry, guys, I got lost in my script. Okay. Laugh it off so everyone knows we. Everyone knows we know what they're thinking. Sorry, that's what threw me up. I kept seeing the word no. Laugh it off so everyone knows we know what they're thinking. I wasn't sure how that would help, but Iblis was nodding her head decisively. Okay, we can just laugh this off. She still seemed awfully calm about all this. You're still okay with me? She gave me a patient look. Jez, you're quirky. There's been something odd about you since the moment we met. This isn't really a huge surprise. Her reaction was, but then I reminded myself, she couldn't remember the first life yet, and she didn't know my role on Earth or my contribution to the fallen state of mankind. I stayed in the dorm the rest of the evening, hoping the interest in my abilities would be forgotten before morning. But I couldn't hide forever. I joined Iblis as we went to creations class. True to her word, Iblis spent the whole time laughing off my ability to use water. Master Sabriel had us working with clay, trying to create beautiful pots and. What is this word? Stand by, we're looking up a word, y'all. Okay. I don't want to sound ignorant here, but believe it or not, this word threw me off. It's basiles. And I kept thinking vase, which I guess is probably something to do with that origin. Or I was thinking vessel or vase, but not vassal. So let's do it again. Master Sabriel had us working with clay, trying to create beautiful pots and vassals for storing water and oil and wine. It wasn't a living creation, though she encouraged us to pour some of our heavenly souls into the effort because it would allow us to create more fully and with more beauty. I knew she didn't want my soul in it, so I didn't try that. Instead, I listened to Iblis. Can you believe people used to think the only angels who could manipulate water were from hell? She laughed loudly and shot a glance in my direction. Nope. She laughed loudly and shot a glance my direction. Right, Jess? I attempted a smile, though this. No, hold on. Hold on. I attempted a smile, though the skin on my face didn't want to bend. guess I'm talking here.
Right. I mean, the very idea of Jez as a demon?
Iblis looked around at our dorm mates.
It's ludicrous.
Okay, Jeremiel, who are you? Are you the guy who's mad all the time? Jeremiel. Yeah. Sorry, I got a lot of characters in this book. And there's a lot of dialogue with these characters. Yeah, the music was loud. Ludicrous, Jeremiel said, taking up her cry. She cast him a grateful smile.
But it's unheard of,
Dara said. Oh, wait, is Dara my serious one? Dara, Bobara. Hold on, folks, I gotta find her voice. Nope, she's a different one. Sorry, I did that line again.
But it's unheard of, Dara said, sounding uneasy. How can she do it? Just because we've never seen it doesn't mean it's unheard of, Iblis said, shaking her head at Dara like this should be obvious. Clearly, she's gifted.
Okay, now we got Leek. Which one are you, dude? Leek. Okay, gotcha.
She did control two different elements out there, Leek said.
Some of the stiffness eased out of my shoulders, and I concentrated on my hands as they molded the clay into an egg-shaped mass. I didn't want to appear too desperate, but they were coming around, convincing themselves that I could not be the enemy.
I've never seen an angel do that,
Grigori, another second year, said.
But I've only been here 2 years. I'm sure someone has seen it.
Exactly, Iblis said, pouncing on that admission. Just because we haven't seen it before doesn't mean it's impossible. Oh my goodness gracious. Who is talking now? Stand by. Okay. Okay, got it. Sorry, guys, a lot of characters. Sooner or later, I'll memorize all their voices.
It kind of ups her cool factor,
Israfile said.
Arella huffed. Like she needed any help with that.
I lifted my eyes, focusing on her. I knew about humans and their search for coolness. I never understood it and never longed for it. I certainly didn't desire it now. I certainly didn't desire it now. At least, I hadn't until she said that. Now my cheeks flushed and I looked back to my egg clay. Why did her words feel like praise? How could I be thinking and acting like them when I'd never been human before? The conversation moved past me, and I hollowed out my egg, giving up on making a vase and pretending like a bowl was my inspiration. Aspiration. Sorry, if I don't correct it now, they'll have to just correct it in pickups later, so I'm going to redo it right now. Giving up on making a vase and pretending like a bowl was my aspiration the entire time. I felt the prickle of eyes on my face, and I lifted my head, only to meet. Oh. I felt the prickle of eyes on my face, and I lifted my head, only to meet Malik's penetrating gaze where he sat next to Grigori. He knew. He alone had not said a word while Iblis wove my defense. He had not spoken to me since the confrontation. He had not spoken to me since the confrontation with Kerubiel 4 days earlier. I tried to win our staring contest, but when Malik finally broke my gaze, it didn't feel like a victory. Did you see how I actually turned my clay into a tall vase? Iblis said excitedly as we walked to the cafeteria after creations class. My clay never made it past a hollowed out circle, I grumbled. What I really wanted was to think. Oh my goodness. Choke.
What I really wanted was to thank her for losing my place in scrolling past this manuscript. There we go. Okay. What I really wanted was to thank her for sticking her neck out for me, for sticking with me. She'd been glued to my side since the incident in Synergy class, and she made it very clear to any onlookers that I was still her friend and still a part of our dorm. But I couldn't thank her with the other angels around us. Who's talking? Oh, she is. Well, you can't be good at everything. Since you can manipulate two different elements, including one that no one's supposed to be able to do, I don't think you have a leg to stand on. She was right, and her words made me giggle. Okay, I'll stop complaining. We entered the dining hall, but before we took two more steps, Kerubiel stepped over to us.
Jez, can you sit with me?
I turned to look at him and his dark clothing and brooding aura, not diminished by the orange tray of food in his grip. I inhaled, breathing in his darkness without meaning to. Some part of me flickered, still nourished by the dark. I don't think so, I said, withdrawing. I said, withdrawing from him. No, hold on. I said, withdrawing from him. I took a step backward, putting distance between him and me. He held up a hand, stopping my retreat.
I just want to talk to you.
Oh, wait. I'll take it back.
I just want to talk to you.
His expression seemed nervous, vulnerable, very different from his attitude a few days ago when he'd driven Malik from me. The memory surged through me, making me angry. As if reading my mind, Kerubiel said,
No one should make you feel inferior for what you are. No, for who you are.
Take it back.
No one should make you feel inferior for who you are. If anyone treats you less,
oh my goodness gracious almighty.
If anyone treats you like you are less than them, you should be angry at them. I was a catalyst, not the cause.
His words rang with truth, and my feelings shifted. My hurt at Malik's abandonment turning into anger that he couldn't even bother to tell me. Sorry, I gotta figure out this sentence. I got it. My hurt at Malik's abandonment turning into anger that he couldn't even bother to tell me how he despised me now. Yes, I said. I'll sit with you. Iblis cast me a long glance, but said nothing.
I'm outside.
He nodded out the doors where I had previously taken a scolding from Malik. Okay. Iblis stayed quiet until the outer door closed behind him. Then she said, Something going on with you two? I wasn't sure if you wanted to murder him or eat him. The darkness called to me, awakening my salacious appetite. He smells delicious, I admitted. TMI! Laughing, Iblis held up a hand to the side of her face. Laughing, Iblis held a hand up to the side of her face. I'll catch you later. TMI? I pondered the letters while I slipped through the line and put a box of fruit on my tray. If I had ever judged Eve for consuming the fruit in the garden, I did not know. I did not know. Oh my goodness, I'm getting tired, y'all. If I had ever judged Eve for consuming the fruit in the garden, I did not now. If there was one fruit I could eat all day, every day, it was fruit. Kerubiel stood with his back to the doors, his magnificent wings open and quivering as he looked out over the blossoming garden. Very appropriate for where my thoughts had just been. He turned at the sound of the door. Kerubiel, I said, sitting on the bench and setting my tray beside his.
Jez?
He crossed to me and sat down beside me.
I know what you are.
What do you mean? I said. Wait, going for ignorance. Let's try that again. What do you mean? I said, going for ignorance.
I've wondered before, because you don't have wings, and because of certain other things. But when you controlled the water in class yesterday, I knew. A sick feeling entered the pit of my stomach, and I put down the fruit in my hands. I switched tactics, opting for Iblis's plan now.
You mean the idea that I could be a demon? The idea is.
Carubiel bent his face to mine and kissed me. Or at least, he tried. The electric shock that jolted through us threw him across the patio and against a tree. I shrieked as the current tore through my body, ripping my skin to shreds and rebuilding it in the next moment. Rebuilding it the next moment. I added a word. I gotta find my place. Oh my goodness. I shrieked as the current tore through my body, ripping my skin to shreds and rebuilding it the next moment. I can't touch you, he said, but instead of sounding I can't touch you, he said, but instead of sounding confused, he sounded triumphant, like he'd just proved something. He looked down at his hands, turning them over, and I could see the lines of blackness cracking across them. I rose to my feet, shaking my fingers as if that would discharge the raging pain. You could not touch me, I shouted, and the wind roared my fury at him, whipping his hair away from his face and tossing branches at his exposed body, which I suddenly very much wanted to hurt. I curled my fingers into claws, the image of pouncing on him and flaying his flesh flashing through my mind. But that would hurt me as well as him, and it wasn't worth it. The cafeteria door opened again, but this time it was Malik who came out, and his eyes flashed like lightning in a thunderstorm. Get away from her. Wait. Get away from her, he shouted at Carubiel. I uncurled my fingers, shaking, trying to bring my thoughts back to a logical place. Easy, Carubiel said. I was just testing something. She's not a toy for you to play with. I apparently wasn't the only one who could call up the wind. An opposing force whipped past us, and Carubiel's wings trembled in it. As much as I wanted to tear into Carubiel, I suddenly worried Malik might do it for me. And he had no right to defend me when he wasn't even speaking to me. Malik, I said, inserting as much coldness. Malik, I said, inserting as much coldness into my voice as I could. I don't need your help. You can go, Carubiel said. She and I are capable of taking care of ourselves. Malik turned to me, and so many colors flickered through his aura that I couldn't even. Malik turned to me, and so many colors flickered through his aura that I couldn't even keep up with them. Come back inside. He's influencing you, Jez. At least he talks to me, I said, quieter now. Oh, but keeping the coldness in my voice. Take two. At least he talks to me, I said, quieter now, but keeping the coldness in my voice. Malik's eyes lowered, and then he strode back into the cafeteria. My gaze flashed to Carubiel and the anger. My gaze flashed to Carubiel, and then the anger returned. I balled my fists up. Did I say that right? Yeah, it just sounded weird in my head. I'm sorry, Carubiel said, holding his hands up as he approached me, warily, like he suspected my murderous thoughts. I didn't know it would hurt you. I just wanted to see if it was true. We are cursed, I growled. My voice every bit like a demon's. We are forbidden to know the pleasure and comfort of tactile touch. I thought it was all spiritual beings, but I have learned it is only us. One more gift from heaven. I spat the words out, and fire flickered from my fingers, lancing across them and seeking a hold. I closed my fists, not about to set fire to my clothing again. Carubiel's eyes danced to my hands and then back to my face. You can manipulate fire also? What else can you do? I could burn you, I screeched, raising my hands and pointing my palms at him.
Never mind that I couldn't hurt him. I had no power over celestial beings. Ah, the. Never mind I couldn't hurt him. I had no power over the celestial beings. Rubio didn't know that. He flinched and shielded his face.
Jez, I'm sorry. Chill, okay? I just wanted to see what would happen.
You touched me.
I kissed you.
He lowered his hands, something mischievous entering his eyes.
I figured I didn't have anything to lose. If it worked, great. If it didn't, well.
I trembled and shuddered with indignation. You used me. He studied me for a long moment.
I had a reason.
He approached me again.
Are you calm enough to talk?
I don't want to talk to you, I hissed.
Come on, Jez.
He settled himself on the bench and gestured for me to return.
I won't touch you, I promise. But at least we got past the pretenses, right?
That was true. I could not even try to deny what he had witnessed. Then again, man was easily convinced he hadn't really seen what he thought he had.
I just want to know more about you,
Carubiel implored, his face innocent and earnest.
Are you a fallen?
I regarded him coolly, not returning to the bench. I'm a demon. That was easier than explaining my true parenthood. He nodded.
How did you get here? Are you in hiding?
Barachiel knows I'm here. He knows what I am.
But you have a plan, right?
Hunger flashed in his eyes.
Something more than all this stupid guardian stuff.
Why not lay it all out? I needed, coughing, choking. I needed more recruits, and this foolish angel did not know the danger he beheld. I've been sent to gather angels for the fallen legion. Satan intends to infiltrate Arcadia and wage war on heaven. This time, those who fight on his side will not be punished.
And those who fight against him?
I shook my head. My anger was abating, and I regretted my loose tongue. A new rule is at hand. All shall recognize his power. His day of greatness is coming. Carubiel stared at me, enraptured.
You're beautiful when you speak that way,
he breathed. Do not come near me, I warned. I am not subject to the follies of human want and desire.
Carnal pleasures,
he smirked.
Only because you don't know what you're missing.
I hissed at him, ready to lash out again.
I want to help you,
he said.
What can I do?
Okay, and that is the end for right now. Alrighty, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I gotta let you